Yo. Welcome into the ChrisBeCappinn Show, man. Today is August the 3rd. 5 games in the WNBA for today. We're going to jump right into them for today. I didn't play anything yesterday. Talked about the Aces up and over their team total. Talked about the Aces plus the points. Team total would have been the preferred look. Aces get smoked yesterday. It don't matter. Double revenge, double-digit revenge, 2 times double-digit revenge at the crib. Rest advantage. They get absolutely mollywopped yesterday. Player props, actually, I think both of them cashed yesterday. But yeah, we'll talk about the 5 games for today. We'll go through Jackson, and then we'll also get into it for the games for today. So let's jump into it, man. Let's just jump into it. Go through a couple comments real quick, see who's with us, and then we'll get to the games. Prolific says, "Good morning, Chris. Even when I don't catch a live, I still hit that like my boy." So I'm guessing Prolific had a good night. Like to hear that. R says Fever money line. Good morning, Algina. She says he went 2-0 in the W last night. Cashed on the over 165.5. I did talk about over and fee under her 8.5 boards. Thanks to the blowout. Needed that bounce back. I'm happy to hear that, Algina. Not happy to see what happened to Fee. Man, I hope Fee can finish out the season. But yeah, prayers up for Fee, man. Josh says let's get paid. What up, Brian? He says, good morning, Chris. Las Vegas got ran out of their own gym. Find a couple today. It's Sunday. Let's bring this week home. I need it. Good morning, Van Negro. Appreciate you for tapping in. He says, what say the about Canada's 7 assists, grade 6 rebounds versus the Mississippi? We'll talk about that. And what up, DB? Appreciate you for tapping in. I did see the breaking news. We'll talk about Edwards in a second as well. Chad says Aces are like 2-17 against teams above 500. They're not good. Yeah, we talked about that yesterday as well. I just wanted to kind of give them I didn't play it, but I wanted to kind of give them some hope, which is why they bet the links yesterday. The links also very janky. They could be losing to Chicago on the road, so let alone losing to the Vegas Aces. But they smoked them. Shout out to Kayla McBride. I think she went 8 for 8 from the 3-point line yesterday. I mean, they washed the links they washed the Aces at the crib yesterday. All right, so let's jump into it for today. Yesterday, Jackson liked. I need to actually double check these. So I know Jackie Young stayed under her 4.5 assists yesterday. That was a pretty easy winner, I want to say, because she didn't even get a full allotment of minutes. Becky Hammond pulled the starters because they were getting absolutely smoked. And then Jackson also like Courtney Williams over her 6.5 assists. And she did finish with 9. So 1 in 1 day yesterday with Jackson. Yeah, Jackie Young finished with 3 assists. Courtney Williams finished with 9 assists. So yeah, 1 in 1 day for Jackson yesterday. Today, similar prompt. If you guys are new to the show, Jackson is an AI sports betting tool that you can utilize to help handicap games, total sides, player props, overs, unders, all different sports. Today's prompt is the same as yesterday. What are the 2 best player props in the WNBA for Sunday, August the 3rd? Jackson likes Kalia Copper over her 1.5 threes. It says she's been consistent, a consistent threat beyond the arc. Her recent form suggests she's poised to continue that against the Chicago Sky. I mean, you don't got to really talk too much about this one. This makes way too much sense not to take Kalia Copper over her 1.5 threes here. So I know what Jackson. I'm pretty sure I know what Jackson's gonna say. So recent form. She's hit the over 60% of her last 5 games, an impressive 80% of her last 10 games, averaging 1.9 threes made during that stretch. Her season-long hit rate of 72.73%. We talked about this in the last game against Atlanta. This makes a lot of sense. So head-to-head dominance when facing the Sky in this season, she's gone over the line. 100% of her matchups, averaging 2 threes per game. This indicates her ability to find success against a specific opponent. And the Chicago Sky defense against 3-pointers made ranks 12th in the league, which is an average matchup for Kalia Copper. Actually, it's above average matchup, below average matchup. I'm sorry. This allows her to leverage her strong shooting form without facing an elite perimeter defense. So bet Kalia Copper, you can get it at -120 on DraftKings. Is what Jackson likes. Also, Ezzy Magmaboy over her 8.5 points. It says she's demonstrated a strong scoring touch, particularly in recent games and against her upcoming opponent, the Indiana Fever. She's exceeded the points line in 80% of her last 5 games, averaging 9.6, and maintained an 80% hit rate in her last 10, averaging 11.1 points per game in that span. Her season-long average of 8.39 is right below this line, but her recent surge is noticeable. Favorable opponent history. So Magmore has an exceptional track record against the Indiana Fever. She said the over this line 100% of her matchups this season, averaging 9 points. And last season, she averaged 14 over 4 games against the same opponent. This indicates success against the Indiana Fever is a significant factor. Home court advantage when playing at home this season. She said the over 64.29% of the time, averaging 9.93, further supporting her potential to exceed this line. While the Fever's defense against her position is strong, they rank third. Magmore's historical performance against them in a recent scoring output makes this a compelling pick. So take Ezzy over her 8.5 points, minus 128 on FanDuel. Take Leah Copper over her 1.5 threes. I actually think these are two pretty good looks for Jackson today. And let's jump into it. Link, as always, is in the description if you guys want to check Jackson out. So first game up, we got the Liberty and the Connecticut Sun. I was on the Liberty on Friday, and the Liberty absolutely got mollywopped. They really never showed up from an offensive perspective. And then they're a small team, but I thought having JJ back would help, them rebounding. But I guess losing, Breanna Stewart is also not good for them being able to rebound the basketball. They got dominated on the board. So the Liberty are now 2-9 against the spread this season on the road. I saw that before I bet them in the last game when they were 2-8-1. But I gave them benefit of the doubt because they were coming off a 3-game losing streak, to put themselves in a position to actually beat the Minnesota Lynx in that game on Wednesday or Tuesday, whenever that was. They said, screw you, Chris. We don't care about beating the Sun. They had already beat the Sun by 48. Now they've lost 4 in a row. They've failed to cover all 4 games of the road trip. So this is the last of the 5-game road trip, and they haven't covered any spreads. They haven't won any of the games either. They lost to the Dallas Wings as well. If you go back to that game on Friday, the Liberty shot 22% from the field, 22% from the 3-point line, 34% from the field. They were out rebounded by 13. They were out rebounded on the offensive glass by 6. They also uncharacteristically turned the ball over 23 times in that game. Only ended up getting to, how many points did they score? I think they scored like 50 or 60 or something like that. It was by far the worst stretch you've ever seen from the worst game I've ever seen from the Liberty. And I just so happen to have my money on them. So am I coming back to double down on them in this game? I'm not. I don't want the Connecticut Sun either, but the WNBA is a little janky right now. It absolutely is a little bit janky. I don't want the Connecticut Sun in this spot. I think if I had to bet the game, that is the way that I would play it. Would be them plus the points. This line has only continued to grow. But I think the stronger play in this game may be maybe an under. I know that the first game went under. I know that the Liberty should be in a bounce back spot offensively. I don't think that Connecticut Sun offense is going to play as good as they played in the last game. And the other thing about the game is that Connecticut's offense wasn't that great either in the last game. It was more so their defense and their ability to be able to control the offensive glass. They didn't even get to their team total in the last game either. So I kind of feel like this spread went up to 13, I think 13.5. Now it's come back down to 12. I'm not laying a bunch of points on the road with the Liberty. I'm just not. That's not something that I want to do with my money. So I stayed away from this game. They will be without, I failed to mention this, but there's no Breanna Stewart, there's no Nair Sabli, there's no Kennedy Burke, which makes it really, really difficult for their front line. Also, Leonie Phoebus left the game in the last one. She did, I want to say she returned, but either way, she'll be present for today's game. I just bet on player props if I liked anything here. I think that we see, maybe a Liberty team that's a little bit more focused early in the game. So maybe a first quarter, first half team total. I considered that, but those numbers are really, really high as well. So I turned to player props. Jacquel Jones over her 1.5 threes. I think it was plus 110 on DraftKings. That makes a ton of sense in my opinion. She finished with just 1. I think she was 1 for 3 in the last game. But I think, her being back home in Connecticut, them probably giving her the ball a little bit more. I think Jacquel has a big game. So over her 1.5 threes makes sense. But yeah, I'm not laying this many points with the Liberty on the road. Also, Sabrina has been going absolutely bananas in the games without Stewie as well. And I think, just with them having such a short rotation, could be another big game for Sabrina Ionescu. I know she didn't shoot the ball too well in the last game, but I would probably focus a little bit more on her rebounds and assists in this spot. I think she'll be able to go down there, grab some of the boards. I just think that she's going to have a big game in assist-wise. I think just looking at this this Connecticut Sun defense, they're not great. So even with them coming off a win, it's not a spot that I want to back them in. If we look at Sabrina's rebound, her let's see if I can pull it up real quick. I looked into this yesterday. Her rebounds and assists, 10.5. You can see the numbers here. It is profitable, 7 of her last 10 games. If we look at the games without Stewie this season, she's had to do more. So two of the last 3, but based on the opponent, you can see rebounds and assists here. She should go over, combining these together. I think she gets to more than 11 today. So I would play Jacko Jones over her threes and Sabrina Ionescu over her 10.5 rebounds and assists would be my thought process in this game. Let's go through the comments real quick and see what you guys are thinking, and then we'll get into the next game. Not a game that I'm a bet though. Like I said, the WNBA, there's some jankiness to it. It's kind of like one of them janky roller coasters that you go on, and you're like, okay, this is starting to feel good. I'm starting to settle in, and it just gets a little bit more jankier as you go, and that's what the WNBA has been recently for sure. Let's see what you guys are thinking in this one. Do we have any comments? What's up, Natalie? Says morning, Chris. After 3 monitored of the first quarter at Water. I had to cash out of my bet and bet the Lynx to win and cover each quarter. They definitely did that. I know you liked the Aces yesterday. They didn't like you back. That's a fact. Yeah. That's the way that Cheryl Reeves coaches though. She plays her players and she doesn't play her other players, which is why I think Diamond Miller was so frustrated being there. But shout out to Diamond. Free Diamond is now free. She's in Dallas, but she can get all the shots she wants. I like Diamond a lot. Let's see. Appreciate this. He's reminding people, Jay reminding people to hit the like button. Appreciate that. Hit the like button if you guys can. Let's see. What up, Malik? He says Carrington to the Lynx is huge. Yeah, Dejanay is clearly she's been hurt this season, but she's a focal piece, I think, to what she can do on the defensive end. She can't really showcase that with a team like the Connecticut Sun. Like a team like the Dallas Wings that they absolutely don't want to play any type of defense at all. Dallas is not, you can call them Alice actually, because there's no D in Dallas at all. They just don't want to play defense. So Dejanay being back on a team that, like she's going to fit that system the same way she fit in Connecticut last year when she won, what did she win? Most Improved last year. But yeah, she's also been battling through injuries. But yeah, I like Dejanay on the Lynx for sure. It's going to help. But it really doesn't matter if he don't come back because New York will win the whole thing in my opinion. But we shall see. Connecticut plus 12 for Brian. He says no Liberty until everyone's back. I agree with that. DB says under 171 again for me. I agree with that as well. New York wins by double digits for sure. Marilla, I think is how you pronounce that, says by double digits. Is it 10? Is it 11? Is it 12? Is it 15? I couldn't quite get there. And I don't even want to go through all the trends and stuff because I did look into a lot of them. It doesn't matter, honestly. At this point, just know the strongest trend is an under trend. When you win as a dog and you were getting 10 points in the last game, next game typically goes under about 58% of the time. This season, about 57% of the time. So that's what I would bet if I was betting anything here. But like I said, it's under or nothing, and then the player props. But this game sucks. Fade the Sun, I love it, says. Natalie says Sun plus 13. Let's see. What else y'all saying here about this game specifically? Took Sabrina over her rebounds. This makes sense. We agree here. Rebounds and assists is what I would play. FY says he likes assists. I like that look. Yeah, Alice, man. It's got to be Alice. Ain't no D. It hasn't been a D in Dallas since Dildo's been thrown on the floor, if we're being honest, man. They ain't playing defense last year. They were the worst defensive team last year. Got Coach Trammell fired. But that's neither here nor there. I agree with this, Pistol. Lynx are a little bit too small. When the Liberty are full strength, if they can be at full strength, because God forbid, Stewie comes back and then Sabrina goes down, or, Natasha Cloud goes down. Like they have it's been a domino effect for the Liberty every single part of the season so far. Jacko Jones missed so much time. Then she comes back and Stewie gets hurt. And Stewie's missed 4 games and they can't even beat the Wings in Dallas. Like that's what the WNBA season has been though, man. Sterling says, do you like Sabrina points? Yeah, I think it's 22.5. She could get there for sure. But also, like, I just feel like the Liberty are going to be able to move the basketball. I think they were like trapping a lot of ball screens. Connecticut was, and putting New York into some actions that I think Sandy Brondello will have the team adjusted for in this game. So I think if they continue to trap Stewie, if they continue to trap Sabrina, it's just going to be her rebounds and assists, in my opinion. That's going to go up and over. So that's my thought process. Which is why I didn't bet her points. But if she gets hot, we know she can hit 5 threes in a half. She can also go 1 for 8, which is probably what she did in the last game. Marquis says he's riding Sun plus 12.5. Morrow over her boards. She did get 6 offensive rebounds by herself in the last game. Shout out to the Liberty for actually not boxing out anybody in the last game. All right, let's go. On paper, they have a solid team. Not from an effort perspective. That's why you can't cap the games on paper. But yeah, they do got a solid team. But they don't want to guard nobody. I'll tell you that. All right, let's go to the next one. Next one is Mystics in the Dream. Also, it's an ugly game, in my opinion, as well. So we start with the injury report. Mystics have what are they doing with Aaliyah Edwards? Aaliyah Edwards looks like I'm seeing she's a game time decision. She's missed the last 2 games with that wrist injury. Not sure if she's going to play in today's game either. That, of course, is big news. Let me see what the update is. So she's officially listed as questionable, in danger of missing her 5th straight game to that right wrist injury. She's also right-handed, so I would expect her. If she's going to play, in my opinion, I think she's going to be close to 100%. On the opposite side, the Atlanta Dream will continue to be without Brittany Griner. They will also be without Ryan Howard. Brittany Griner got ruled out yesterday. So this is the 4th. I'm not sure if it's the final, but it's the 4th meeting between these 2 teams. Washington did win the first one as an 8-point dog. I think this was like the first and second game of the season. Then Atlanta won the next 2. One was in Atlanta, one was in Washington. I think they covered one. They didn't cover one. So Washington is 2-1 against the number against Atlanta this season. Washington does have a 1-day rest advantage in this game. This is their first road game after 5 straight home games, where in that 5 straight home games, they were favorites a couple times. And we always talk about not wanting Washington as a favorite. They finished 2-3 straight up and against the number. They're only 3-7 against the spread in their last 10 games after losing against the Valkyries on Thursday. And then Atlanta, they would have took my money on Friday. I didn't bet the Phoenix game, but I would have definitely took Phoenix plus the points. And Phoenix absolutely just wet the bed. We'll talk about them in a second, but Atlanta looked really, really good. I don't want to discredit what Atlanta did. They've won back-to-back games. They won 4 of their last 5 games. Impressive win against Phoenix. They were getting 3.5 points as a dog. Without BG, without Ryan Howard. And they actually don't play again until Thursday, which is a 2-day rest advantage after this game because the Washington Mystics play again on Tuesday. So Atlanta can kind of go all out in this spot. When I was looking into the game yesterday, the first thing that jumped out to me was under. I don't really want to take a bunch of unders. Both of these teams, though, are bottom 3 in pace in their last 5 games. Washington, as we know, is not a good offensive team. The 9th in offensive rating, the 10th in points scored per game. Washington also takes the most free throws in the league, and Atlanta is a team that fouls less than any other team. So it could be difficult for Washington to score the basketball. The problem that I have here is, do we see a little bit of a let up for the Atlanta Dream with them coming off, a big win in their last game? I don't know, man. I feel like Naz Hillman is playing really, really good. For Brittany Griner, I know that Atlanta wants to push the pace a little bit more. That's also kept me off the under. When you don't have to slow the game down for Brittany Griner, you can actually play a lot faster. And that's what we saw in the last game. Like, Phoenix couldn't stop, this Atlanta offense from scoring the basketball. Jordan Canada was listed as questionable with an illness. She ended up playing. I think she's gone up and over her assist prop. Like, Atlanta is really balling right now. Naz Hillman and Maya Caldwell come in. They step right in for Brittany Griner and Ryan Howard, and they've been absolutely hooping. Do I think that they can win this game by 2 possessions? I kind of do. I do. I know it's not the most appealing thing because it could be a little bit of a letdown spot. And who knows what effort we're going to get from Washington. The other thing about Washington, I always talk about, if you guys have been listening to the show this season, I always talk about, wanting to take Washington when you get them as a dog because I don't want to lay points with the Mystics. Here's the thing about the Mystics, though. When they are a road dog this season, they only 4-4 against the number. It ain't like they out here covering, 75% of their games. This is not the Sparks on the road. This is a 4-4 team. They lose by about 4 points per game. They've lost 2 of their last 3, haven't covered 2 of their last 3 on the road. That came against the Lynx and against the Sparks. And the Dream's offense is really good, kind of like the Sparks, I guess, to a certain extent. I want to say just real quick that if you look at the Dreams offensive rating over their last 5 games, I think they're like the 3rd best offense. And I worry about the Washington Mystics being able to keep up, from a pace perspective. Washington will maybe potentially have a little bit of a rebounding advantage in this game without Brittany Griner being down there. But when I think about Brittany Griner, I also don't think about a great rebounder. So I don't know what to do with this game. I didn't think about it from a player prop perspective either. I think it could be a little bit of a let up for Atlanta. Like I said, Washington do have the rest advantage. The last time they were in Atlanta, if you guys remember that game, it was Brittany Sykes who missed the potential game tie and free throw to send us to overtime. And they were getting a bunch of points in that game as well. So I don't know. I don't really want to lay with Atlanta, but I also don't. I can see them winning this game and kind of, continue to play well at home. So that's my thought process. I didn't bet this game either. Who knows, man? Who knows what's going on in the WNBA these days? So real quick, last 5 game stats. Atlanta is 2nd in offensive rating, the 8th in defensive rating, 2nd in net rating, 4th in points scored, 4th in points allowed. They win about average of 8 points. And they are, like I said, 2nd last in pace. But efficiency-wise, they've just done really, really well. I couldn't get there with anything in this game either. I hope you guys find some success, though. Let's see what you guys are thinking about this one. Mystics plus 5.5. Jordan Canada under 23.5 points, rebounds, and assists for DB. Did an alt line. Atlanta minus 2.5. Washington plus 6.5 for FY. 13-point spread is too much for New York. Give me the plus 12.5. Nolly says Mystics plus 12.5. These teams match up really well. Mystics can keep it close. Already bet it. Okay. Donovan says when in doubt, take the points. That's the way this season has been going. Underdogs been either winning outright or at least covering their points. So I think about this in this way as well. He says Mystics somehow, some way come through on the game they're supposed to lose and lose the games you think they should definitely win. I mean, that's a fact. I agree with this, but this doesn't always happen, right? So sometimes we see road teams really struggle to score the basketball late in the game. And Exhibit A would be when the Valkyries were in Atlanta the first time, right? And I said, I'm not laying points with Atlanta. I'd rather have the Valkyries. I think they had the rest advantage or whatever they had. And the Valkyries scored, I think, 6 points in the 4th quarter. We know that the Mystics offense can absolutely run dry. That's they gonna have a quarter where the Mystics go score like 9 points. They might get 7, might be 12. Like there's gonna be a quarter where the Mystics will not be able to score the basketball, and that would not surprise me at all. So we shall see, man. We shall see. I hope you guys cash though, because it feels like a lot of people like the Mystics in this spot. Don't let me talk you off. Marquis says he's going opposite. Took Dallas minus 5.5, and Alicia Gray over 19.5 points. Mystics struggle to score. Said that as well. Blunt says he'll go Dream minus 5. Pistol says Mystics will slow the game down. Do we think that they can dictate pace? I guess I would agree with that. Because in my opinion, the Dream don't play fast. They just been super efficient. I just mentioned Dream are 12th in pace on the full season. Only 13 teams in the league. In the last 5 games, the Dream are 13th in pace as well, but it's been their efficiency, right? So last full season, Dream are 50.9% effective field goal percentage, which is 5th in the WNBA. Last 5 games, they're 2nd, shooting 56.7% from the field. That's significant. Will the Washington Mystics be able to slow their offense down? The thing that you got to kind of ask yourself in this spot. We shall see, man. We shall see. Who knows? Let's see. Pistol says Mystics #1 team in the league in limited fast break points. Let's double check that. Are they the #1 team in limited fast break points? They are. But the thing about it is Atlanta don't get out and run. That's the thing, right? Atlanta shoot a bunch of threes. They try to play inside. Like Atlanta's actually 9th in points scored via fast break points. In last 5 games, they're 11th. So they're not getting points in fast breaks at all. I just told you guys last 5 games, they're actually 4th in scoring, but they're 9th in points scored. So I don't know how much that impacts anything, Pistol. I understand what you're saying, but I don't know how much it impacts anything. Washington can lay an egg every other game probably today, but I can't lay 5, maybe a live bet. Yeah, maybe a live bet. Real quick, speaking of the Mystics coming off a loss, let's just look at that. The Mystics are 7-6 straight up, 7-6 against the spread if they're coming off a loss. And what if they're off a loss and their dog. They are 2-5 straight up, 4-3 against the number, 5-2 to the under. This was a dream team total under. They've held 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of their 7 opponents under their team total. That's a 72% hit rate to take the Atlanta Dream team total under today. If you like a trend like that, Mystics off a loss and their dog in the next game. What if they're on the road? 0-4 straight up, 1-3 against the number, 3-1 to the under. So their offense struggles. These games have been played against the Aces, the Mercury, the Fever, and the Lynx. And they've stayed under their team total in 3. They've held 2 of their opponents under their team total as well. So, all right, just giving you guys that. Sykes says, Pistol says Sykes will have Alicia Gray in jail. I don't know. What up, Justin? Appreciate you for tapping in. Malik says, so Dream playing up Mystics pace. They both play slow, or Dream slowing down the game. I kind of want to play the over. Yeah, I didn't bet the under because I could see it going over. And when I was looking into this game, the one thing that really stuck out to me was if you go back to the last game, I think the Mystics have been the same team all season, right? You could say the Dream were a little bit better earlier. They were more of a defensive team than offense. It's taken a while for their offense to kind of come around. But when I was looking into this game last night, one of the things that stuck out to me was I don't think of these teams as being high-scoring teams when they play each other. That first game that they played in DC was 90-94. it went. The total was 156. It went over by 27.5 points. Then the third time that they played, they saw a total of 157, which is right where it is today. This is for you, Malik. And that total was 157. The final score was 92-91. So I don't know how the points are being scored, but it's points being scored. That one went over by 26 points. So they played 3 times so far this season. We had 2 overs by 26 points and 27.5 points, and then an under by 13 points. So take with that information, do what you want, man. Take with that information, do what you want. Justin says he'll go Natasha Cloud over 16.5 points, going back to that first game, points and assists. Kiki Eriefin over her points and rebounds. Mystics first half plus 3.5 when he bet it. Okay. What up, Mark? Appreciate you for tapping in. Free Sauce, my brother. Hope all is well with you. He says good morning, chat. He says he's on Sonya Citron points. She's only under the line in about 4 away games this season. So thinking she plays well. Nally says the over sounds great in Mystic and Dream game. And it could absolutely just be that easy. If all my notes say under, then I typically stay off of it because that means it's going to go over. That's just the way the WNBA season has gone, man. All right, let's keep pushing. Next game we got up is the Fever and the Storm game. So we start with the injury report. Caitlin Clark, of course, is out for the Indiana Fever, and that's the only injury on both sides. So Indiana will be at full strength outside of Caitlin Clark. Seattle will be at full strength as well. So as far as the spot goes here, we do have Indiana. We got a little bit of a revenge spot for Seattle. Indiana did go into Seattle earlier this season. They beat the Storm 94-86. They were getting 4 points in that game. That game flew over the total of 168 as well. What was that? 180 points scored in that game. And we've seen the total come up in this one as well. This opened 158.5 and it's up to 163. So about five points towards the over so far. Indiana has looked really, really good. I was kicking myself a little bit for not betting them on Friday. I told you guys that I liked them minus 3.5. And if it was still available after the show, I would bet it. I did not bet it. And they got the job done. Everybody, like I said, is beating Dallas because Dallas can't stop anybody from scoring the basketball. Seattle can, though. This is the second best defensive team in the WNBA. The Fever coming to this game red hot. They've won 4 straight. They've covered 4 straight. Can they keep it going? Is the question you got to ask yourself. And can they win the game outright? Because if you think that they can beat the Seattle Storm again, then you definitely want to be on the plus 2.5. This line hasn't really moved a lot. I kind of wanted to see where the market would push it. It hasn't moved a lot at all, just the total. On the Seattle side of things, they're coming off a 2-point double overtime loss on Friday night to the Los Angeles Sparks, and a nice little bounce back spot for the Sparks. That was their first game back home, so second game back home. They were coming off a 3-game road trip. This Seattle Storm team has now alternated wins and losses in 10 straight games. I want to say it goes beyond 10 straight games. I think it's like 15 straight games. They win a game, they lose a game. They win a game, they lose a game. So in theory, if you're following the trends, you want to take Seattle in this spot. They didn't have to travel, but they are at a slight rest disadvantage because if you go back to the game that they played on Friday night, all of their starters, I want to say all of their starters played north of 40 minutes. If you know anything about Noelle Quinn, she does not use her bench. Like outside of Malunga, and I don't even think Zia Cook even came off the bench in that last game. Seattle Noelle Quinn doesn't really trust her bench. And that's one of the reasons why I think Seattle doesn't have a chance to like really win the title this year. Their bench doesn't do a lot at all. It was Nneka who had like 30-something points, and Gabby Williams went over her points, rebounds, and assists, and Skylar Diggins. But yeah, all of these starters played. Everybody played 39 minutes or more. Even Erica Willard played 39 minutes or more. Ezzy played 34. That was the lowest out of any starter. And Tiffany Mitchell, Lexi Brown, I guess they did play 13 minutes, but they didn't do enough. Alicia Clark didn't touch the game, didn't touch the court. Zia Cook didn't touch the court either. So the longer the game goes on, I do feel like it favors the Fever. I feel like the Fever are going to let up eventually. I think, maybe it's a little easier for them to beat the Dallas Wings in the last game because Dallas doesn't play any defense. And then you get Seattle coming off a loss at home. Granted, they're coming off double overtime, but they didn't have to travel in this spot. So the more and more I think about the game, the more and more I do think that it favors the Fever. But more so than that, I think the way I was looking at this game was, I think from a player prop perspective, I think Aaliyah Boston's in a really good spot. This is a spot where she actually ate in the last time these two teams played. And I think, with the defensive fatigue that we could see from the Seattle Storm, with them coming off a double overtime game, in my opinion, only helps a player like Aaliyah Boston. So if we go back over the outline really quickly, this is Aaliyah Boston. If I was playing Aaliyah Boston today, it would be her points plus rebounds. Just because she did really, really well in both categories. Her rebounds have gone over, I think, in 4 straight games. So she's over in 5 straight games. My fault. She's had 10 plus boards in 5 straight games. Seattle gives up the 3rd most rebounds on the season. They give up the most defensive rebounds as well. So this is Aaliyah Boston, points plus rebounds. Doesn't look too, appealing here. But if you look at the head-to-head matchup, she absolutely dominated the last one. Seattle Storm had everybody in. So we go here. You can see that, this is the first matchup. She had 31 points and 8 boards in this game. And I kind of see the same. Her points prop, I think, is 13.5 in this game. She's over in 3 of her last 5 games. She's had 30 she had 30 the last time these two teams played. And like I said, you catch Seattle, potentially slipping a little bit on the defensive end. I like Aaliyah Boston in this spot a little bit more than I like anything else. Seattle has also played in back-to-back overs versus the Sparks and the Connecticut Sun. But they are 7-3 to the under in their last 10 games. So I don't know. I think Indy could potentially be live to win this game, but I don't want to bet them coming off 4 straight losses. It could be a bit of a letdown spot for them. I want to say that these teams are tied in the standings as well. So this is a big, big game. A lot of playoff implications as far as seeding goes in this game. So that's my thought process. Maybe if you like Seattle, even though they haven't necessarily been a good first half team, but you think they're going to come out and throw the first punch, maybe you take them early before they run out of gas. But I think kind of feels like Indy could be live to win this game. Let's see what you guys are thinking about this one. Just took Sky minus 2.5. Nelly says on the opposite side, Fever plus 2.5. Already bet it. P says he's on Fever plus 2.5. I think so, Jordan. I looked into this morning, right? Let's see. Did I pull it up on my phone? I did look into this morning. So I looked at the question is, does do double overtime play a factor in the game? It does, but it's not like significant factor. I looked at let's see. I looked at previous overtime. I think it was more so to the under. Previous overtime equals 2, and previous overtime equals 2. If you are home coming off a game where you just played 2 overtimes, you are 12-10 to the under. Last 2 instances have gone over. Both of those were last season. And you don't typically cover. You're 7-15 against the spread. That says to take the Fever. 31.8% is the cover rate for teams that are home coming off a game where they went to 2 overtimes. If you add that the team is a favorite and they're coming off 2 overtimes, just 4-12 against the number. They cover 25% of the time. So 75% trend on the Fever in this spot. But it's crazy. The line, like I said, the line hasn't moved because Seattle for whatever reason, if they're coming off a loss, this is when they typically play their best basketball. Seattle Storm have not lost back-to-back games. Let's see. Last time Seattle, I don't think they've lost back-to-back games this season. Just double check. They lost back-to-back games on June the 1st and June the 30th. They lost to the Dream and lost to the Aces back-to-back. Since then, they have not lost back-to-back games. They are 9-2 coming off a loss, 6-5 against the number, win by average of 8 points per game, and they've won 3 straight, 4 of their last 5 coming off a loss. They've covered 3 straight, 4 of their last 5 off a loss. They've won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 games in a row coming off a loss. And if they're at home coming off a loss, they are 4-2 straight up, 1-5 against the number, typically laying about 8.5 points. I'm sorry, typically laying about 8.5 points in this spot. 4-2 to the under as well. So defensively, they typically play well. Yeah, there you go, Jordan. Justin says he played over. Pistol says he's on the Storm. Justin says he's on the Storm. Brian says he's on Indiana. The defense has been consistent. I would trust revenge in the W. Let's see. Storm and revenge games. Storm are 6-2 in revenge games this season. 6-2 straight up, 5-3 against the spread, 5-3 to the under. 3 straight unders. 4 of their last 5 have gone under in this spot as well. Let's see what the Fever are if they won the last game this season. Fever are 6-2 straight up if they've beaten you already this season. 5-3 against the spread as well. So I mean, there's no edge here. 5-3 to the under. So both teams identical record. If the Storm lost to you, they beat you the next game. 6-2 straight up, 5-3 against the numbers, 5-3 to the under. And then if the Fever beat you in the last game, they're also 6-2 straight up, 5-3 against the number, and 5-3 to the under as well. They won 3 straight games versus teams that they've already beaten. They beat the Aces earlier this season. They beat them again. They beat the Sky earlier this season. They beat them again. They beat the Wings earlier this season. They beat them again. So yeah, take with that information. Do what you want, man. I'm not gonna be involved in this game. Let's see. Marquis says took Fever plus 2.5. Aaliyah Boston over 8.5 boards. Averages 10 rebounds in 9 games versus the Storm. I kind of like that angle as well. Aaliyah Boston makes a lot more sense than betting the side of the total, in my opinion. Nally says offensively, the Storm can't touch the Fever, and crazy to think, but I kind of agree with that. I do kind of agree with that. They are, for whatever reason, they struggle offensively, man. Freestyle says he'll go Skylar over 23.5. Put the points, rebounds, and assists together. She's over in 4 of her last 5 games. Also over this line is 6 of 8 straight up against the Fever. DB says revenge against an over team plus every game out of the last 5 went over. Yeah, let me get over 163 and straight back to the Boston over her 8.5 boards. Like it. FY says Indy money line, Fever on the money line. Fever hasn't played anyone good in their last 3 road games. So this was the point that I wanted to see as well. So Fever just talked about them coming off, so it could be a little bit of a letdown spot. You just beat the Wings. You just beat the Mercury. The Mercury was a good win, though. That was a solid win for them. And then you beat the Sky. You beat the Aces. Well, who are the Aces? We'll talk about them in a second. Last time they played a good team was the Liberty. Liberty were at full strength right before the All-Star break. And they lost that game before the All-Star break and the one after the All-Star break. So, yeah, I'm not sure. So let's just look at the Fever 2-3 straight up, 2-3 against the spread if they're on the road playing against a team that has a 52% win percentage or better this season. Fever is road dogs, 2-3 straight up, 2-3 against the spread as well. All right, cool. I'm done with this game, man. Let's see. Sterling says, if you had to pick a team to do an alternate spread on today, who would it be, Fever or Seattle? I would bet Fever just kind of scare me. Even though they have been playing really good basketball, I know Seattle's going to be locked in. I think the longer the game goes on, though, like I said, I think the longer the game goes on, the more favors the Fever. I mean, that's just simple logic, right? Seattle just coming off a double overtime game. Told you guys, everybody played north of 35 minutes. That's just the way I see it. Let's see. Seattle played Cupcakes too, and they lost to Dallas, and that is a fact. I want to say Seattle has also struggled. It don't even matter who the Storm play. If they won their last game, they lose the next one. So they lost to the Sparks at home. Before that, they beat the Sun. Before that, they lost to the Mystics. You can't be losing to the Mystics, bro. Not scoring 58 points. Before that, they beat the Sky. Before that, they lost to the Wings. Before that, they beat the Valkyries. Before that, they lost to the Mystics again. Before that, they beat the Sun but didn't cover. Before that, they lost to the Sun. Who knows what to do with Seattle, man? Who knows what to do with Seattle? Paul says this game changes because Ari will guard Skylar. Ari has been playing some pretty good defense. Absolutely. All right, let's move to the next one. Next one is the Mercury and the Sky. This line is up to 13.5 now. Yesterday it did open, I think, at 11, 10, I think, or 11, 10, something like, I think at 10, 11. It's up to 14. I see some 14.5. I see 12.5. I see 13. Like the lines all over the place. The total in this one has gone up 164.5 up to 166 and up to 166. I see a 167, 165.5. Nobody really knows what to do with this game. So we look at the injury report because you always got to if you're looking at a Chicago game. Angel Reese is out. Ariel Atkins is out. Really, that's where you kind of stop at, in my opinion. Michelle Onyenwere is game time decision. Haley Van Lith missed the last game. She could potentially return as well. And then the Phoenix Mercury have nobody on the injury report. So Phoenix coming off the most embarrassing loss of their season. This is not necessarily the greatest bounce back spot from a situational perspective, just because it is their fifth straight. I think it's their fifth straight road game. These two teams have played twice so far this season, though, and Phoenix won both games. They won 5 straight against Chicago as well. Chicago covered the first game in Phoenix a long time ago. These teams were a lot different back then. But then Phoenix went into Chicago and absolutely smoked this team. This was when Phoenix was getting hot. They won the game by 21 as a 10.5 point road favorite in that last matchup that was on June 21st. Phoenix is not a team that you like. Maybe situationally, you're like, you know what? Like, just continue to fade Chicago. They absolutely suck. Chicago can't cover. They can't win. They can't keep games competitive. They're not real WNBA team without Angel Reese and Ariel Atkins. But Phoenix is also 6-8 against the spread on the road. They've dropped 2 in a row to Indiana and to Atlanta. They've lost 5 of their last 6 games. The only win came against Washington. This is the last game of a 5-game road trip, so that's not the greatest spot. They played 6 of their last 7 games on the road, so not a great spot for Phoenix either. But, I mean, is it really ever a great spot for Chicago? It's not like they have a real home court advantage. They're 4-9 against the spread at home. They've lost 7 straight non-covers. Second straight home game for them, but every single loss had been by double digits. I want to say even you couldn't get a better situational spot for the Sky than their last game. You had the Valkyries at home. You had in-season revenge. You had the Valkyries playing on the second leg of a back-to-back. The Valkyries also playing third game in 4 nights. Valkyries playing fourth game in 6 nights. Valkyries had played 4 straight road games. Like, you couldn't find a better spot, and they still couldn't cover that 4.5. Couldn't win the game either. Like I said, they've lost 7 straight. They've lost 7. They've failed to cover 7 straight. The losses have been by 7, 17, 15, 38, 23, 37, and 13. Now, on the opposite side, you look at the Mercury, and granted, right, maybe they just, maybe everything is fixed overnight. Maybe Satu Sabli wants to play with some effort. And they get right in this spot, right? If you look at the Mercury, it's really been like their defense. They actually were a really good defensive team, but last 5 games, they're the 3rd worst defense in the WNBA. They got a defensive rating of 111. They've given up an average of just 81.8 points per game, but that's also 8th in the WNBA. And I don't think about Chicago Sky as a team that's going to be able to score the basketball at all. For goodness sake, they scored 66 points in their last game against the Valkyries. So I guess the Phoenix Mercury is supposed to be able to get right. I'm not betting them in this spot, though, because I would have bet them in the last game, and they look absolutely atrocious. I guess Phoenix, maybe even Chicago to stay under their team total, thinking the Mercury get it right on the defensive end as well. These two teams are going in actually going in the same direction. Phoenix going in the same direction as Chicago recently. Just not great at all. Chicago also playing super slow. Who knows, man? Alyssa Thomas over her assist makes a ton of sense. 8.5 was the number. I think it was last night. She has gone under in 4 straight games, but she gets the best matchup she'll ever get. Chicago allows the second most assists. They can't stop a nosebleed. They are allowing the most points over their last 5 games. Well, second most points at 91 per game. They're last in defensive rating at a 115 defensive rating. And they give up the second most assists. I think I mentioned it already. The first matchup, AT had 15 assists. Then she had 8 in the next one, but I think that was because of the blowout. She gets 35% of her assists come from the above the break three. Chicago is the worst above the break three defense in the WNBA. So Kalia Copper, like Jackson mentioned, to go up and over her 3-point prop. Maybe even Satu, if she can, play with some effort, she probably can stay on the floor and she could probably knock down some threes. She has been god awful from the 3-point line. Satu could be a nice breakthrough game for her. When you're shooting as bad as Satu shooting, you typically want to see the Chicago Sky 3-point defense. So that's my thought process. Let's see. What are you guys thinking here? And it could be Phoenix early too. Like Phoenix could absolutely smoke Chicago from the beginning because they've been so poor recently. But I thought the same thing in the Atlanta game, and I was completely wrong. Phoenix should be winning the first half by 10 points. They're -7.5 on Fanatics, -8.5 everywhere else. Phoenix first half could also be there. Let's see what you guys are thinking. Nobody got real thoughts on this game. Now he says free money. Mercury -14.5. Already played it. Ain't no way I'm laying 12 with the Mercury pistol says. Staying away from this one. Yeah. It sounds like a bunch of I have no ideas going on. Yeah, just played somebody threes for the Mercury. The Sky defense really sucks from the 3-point line. Team total was set too high because I did look at the Mercury team total as well. I don't even know if they necessarily need to get to 90 points because the Sky offense is so bad. Sky's team total was set at 75.5, but the Mercury haven't been playing much defense either. You can get the Mercury team total at 89.5, so -115 on Bet MGM. Everywhere else got it at 90.5. So I don't know, man. Pistol says laying 2 touchdowns with the Mercury is insane. Until you look at how bad the Sky's defense has been, but I can't do it either. So best of luck if you guys are playing that. Next game, last game on the board is the Valkyries and the Aces. This line is up to it was up to 8, so it's still at 8. Total hasn't moved much either. 156. 157 is the consensus right now. So we look at the injury report. The Valkyries do have, I think, Xander Sealy on the injury report. She's game time decision. Tiffany Hayes is also game time decision, which is big. Of course, no Monique Billings. She will be out for the next couple weeks. And of course, not Veronica Burton. I'm sorry. No Kayla Thornton. She's done for the season. So the Valkyries, really just kind of stringing it along some wins. Don't know how. They just like winning ugly games. They've also had a fairly decent, fairly easy strength of schedule, I think, as of late. Like, I don't want to discredit the Valkyries because I always talk about them not being the greatest team on the road, but they have been playing some soft opponents and they've been able to take care of business. The Sky got the job done. The Mystics got the job done. Very impressive win against the Dream. That was also coming off a game against the Sun. And it's crazy to think, right? Because last Sunday they were playing the Sun, and I was on the Valkyries in that spot, minus the 4.5. They lose the game by 35. Since then, they haven't failed to cover a spread. They not only covered, but they beat the Dream outright. Then they beat the Mystics outright. Then they beat the Sky outright as a 4.5 point favorite. But they've won 2 of their last 3 as a dog. This is the, I think, third matchup of the season between these 2 teams. Both teams did split. Both teams won on their home court. But Golden State did cover both games. The Valkyries are 8-7 against the spread on the road, so they have been now profitable on the road. They're 6-4 against the spread in their last 5. It is the last game of a 5-game road trip, which does throw a little monkey wrench in a little bit. But they do have the rest advantage because the Aces played yesterday. I wouldn't even know if necessarily say the Aces played yesterday. The Aces suited up yesterday. I don't know how much they actually played. I know that the starters didn't play big minutes because they were down by 70 before, halftime, it felt like. I can't lay this many points with the Aces. Like that's just really what it comes down to. I know that the Valkyries could be, extremely short-handed in this spot, but I can't lay this many points with the Aces. They haven't beat the Valkyries by this many points all season. And I know that the Valkyries are short-handed. They could be potentially even more short-handed if Tiffany Hayes and Xander Sealy don't play, but not for my money. Not with the effort that I saw from the Aces yesterday. Bounce back performance for the Aces? Potentially. Who really knows? Nobody knows what you're going to get from the Aces. Not when they're not when they're playing against a really good, sound defensive team. And I said yesterday in the breakdown, I said the Aces have been playing really good basketball, but it's been against teams that don't play defense. When the Aces play against a team that does play defense, not as great. Last time they played against a good defensive team was yesterday. They got smoked. The time before that was the Fever. They got smoked in that game. Lost that game by 10, and they were laying points on the road. When they play against teams that don't play defense, the Wings, they smoked them. The Sparks, they smoked them. So who really knows, man? Who really knows? Both games have gone over this season, 161, 156 and a half. I'm sorry, 161 and 156 in that order. Aces are 2-0 to the over plan and rest of the season. Both games have gone over by 17 points or more against the Mystics and the Lynx. But again, Golden State 7-3 to the under in their last 10 games, 6-1 to the under in their last 7 games. So whatever you guys want to do with this information, do what it is that you want, man. I wish you guys the best of luck if you're betting this game. Let's see. FY says, don't sound like you like anything today. I mean, the W, man, I'm going to try to play live. Because just when I was getting back to break even for the season, the WNBA did that thing where it goes like nah, we not going to do what we supposed to do. So I'll try to bet some stuff live. I'll send it out to the members as I, play the games. The one thing that we do have in our favor today is that Kathy, she did a little bit better job of not putting all the games on at the same time. I think there are a couple games that started at the same time, but Friday was the greatest display of, promoting your product that we've ever seen before. It was 5 games on Friday, 4 of them started at the same time. You cannot do a better job than that. So today we got the Sun and the Liberty 1 o'clock standalone game, and then the Mystics and the Dream and the Fever and the Storm both play at 3. And then we got 2 6 o'clock games as well, Eastern Standard Time, that is. So this is a little bit better. Like I can watch 2 games at the same time and make live bets, and that's what I'll do. But yeah, I don't like a lot today, if I'm being honest. Nally says the money-making Valkyries as a dog. Give me the +8. I would agree with that. Let's see. I don't want that 8 either. I can't lay the 8. Let's see. Luis says, just found you, Chris. Great show. Appreciate that. He says, great. Under 10.5 points. Gabby under 4.5 boards. Tina Charles under 23.5 points, rebounds, assists. Best of luck. Best of luck to you as well, Luis. Brian says, Las Vegas straight up gave up yesterday. How am I supposed to put my money on that team? Pistol says, Aces are dookie. Donnie says, Asia over her points. Real quick, let's look into that real quick. Let's just look at Asia. All right, so Asia, let's see. Asia listed at 22.5 for today. And I should probably pull this up so you guys can see it as well. Let's see. Let's go through it real quick. If y'all got any, I'll look at one more real quick too. If y'all got any other player props y'all want me to look at least give you my thought process. I feel like the player props have been hitting better than the sides and the totals as of late. WNBA, like I said, it's just been a little bit janky recently. All right, so Asia over her points, Donnie says. So let's go look at Asia real quick. First thing I want to see what Asia is. I know she killed them in the last game. Remember, that was the last time that these two teams played. The Aces won, what was it, 90, like 104 to 102 or something like that. Kayla Thornton hit that 3-pointer in the right corner. I'll never forget. I think they were already covering, but that definitely secured the cover. So the first thing I would want to see is Asia's minutes. How many minutes did she play yesterday in that blowout? 21. So that looks really, really good. She's probably in really good form. Clearly she averages, let's see, let's just go full season. She averages 30 minutes. So coming off, this is actually the second fewest minutes that she's played all season. You can see that here. 21 minutes. This is outlier if people want to check it out. She is 63% to the over on the season. So that's a really good start to the trend. We go head-to-head matchup. 1 over, 1 under. This was the game that got blown out, 95-68 in Golden State. And then she went crazy. 34 points in that next game. All right. Now let's look at go last 10. She is, so this is actually her under. So let's go over. She is only 4 of 10 to the over on this line. If she's playing on a back-to-back, she is under in back-to-back games. These are against two good defensive teams, the Washington Mystics and the Minnesota Lynx. The way I kind of see things, though, if it's not Asia, then who is it? We know that one thing about the Valkyries is they give up a bunch of threes. I don't know if I trust anybody on the Aces to be able to knock down threes consistently outside of Jackie Young. Yeah, I don't trust any other three-point shooters for the Valkyries. I mean, for the Aces, except Jackie Young. I kind of feel like Natalie Nakase is going to go back to doubling Asia though. Like they go, she's so smart. She also was the coach for this team, so it just to me it just makes sense that it's not going to be as easy for Asia to do her thing. Like they're going to have to feed off other players, and somebody else is going to have a big game. Just my logic don't make me want to bet on Asia. It don't make me want to fade her either. But Natalie Nakase was the coach for this team. She knows how to slow down the Aces offense. She didn't do it in the last game. But I remember the halftime speech was like, we're just not playing with effort at all. Now having the rest advantage, I know it's the last game of a 5-game road trip, but having the rest advantage, having revenge as well. I think they double Asia. I think you got to double Asia. I would expect Asia to have more of like a game like this. What is she shooting this game? 17. She shot 5 for 13 versus 12 for 16. I don't think it's going to be that easy. I don't think it's a 75% field goal percentage type game for Asia. Don't mean that she won't get her points, but that's the way I kind of think about Asia. Also, Asia gets what does she get? She gets about, man, they're not great against the spot up. She can shoot from the spot up. She can shoot from the post up. Asia is very well-rounded. I don't know what I want to do with Asia in this spot. I know they don't give up a lot of points in the paint. That's my thought process. Asia likes to score in the paint, but she can also hit that midi. And if her midi's falling, I guess she could get busy. Maybe Becky Hammond tries to get her the ball in the middle of the floor, and maybe it's more of an Asia assist game. Her assists are listed at 3.5. I could potentially see her assist going over at 3.5. Because I think she's gonna have to facilitate a little bit more than score. That's just my thought process, though. All right. Did y'all say anything else in the comments before we move over? Valkyries are a great basketball team. Asia Wilson top scorer. If Asia Wilson not the top scorer, I think it's got to be Jackie Young. I don't think anybody on the Valkyries, just because they're so well-rounded, I don't think any of them gonna be the top scorer. Yeah, I just don't see that. Valkyries are clutch on the road, winning 3 straight games. I agree with that. I mentioned that. FY says I did get the Aces -4, but who knows anymore? I don't even want the Aces -4, honestly. So definitely not -8. Skylar Diggins points. I think I looked at Skylar Diggins points, Charlie. So I just don't like that. I don't like that she played so many minutes in the last game. Skylar is 15.5, I think is the number, right? Yeah, 15.5. Let's see. I think she did go over in the head-to-head matchup. Yeah, she had 22 in this matchup right here. So this is under. Let's go over for Skylar Diggins. So yeah, she had 22 in the first matchup. Skylar gets a lot of her points off pick and roll defense, which the Indiana Fever, not the worst 3-point, pick and roll defense. Again, Noelle Quinn is somebody, in my opinion, that's going to she's gonna run her starters into the ground. Like, I don't think she's gonna take her starters out for many minutes. So we come down here, we look at Skylar Diggins minutes. You can see she played 34 against Indiana last time that they played. If we just look at the full season, she played 43 minutes. Like, Skylar's a little older now. I think this is what, year 10, year 12, something like that for Skylar. Wouldn't surprise me if she had an off game in this one, but again, that's just me speculating. She's shooting 43% from the field, 41% from 3-point line on the season. Last 5 games, 37% from the field, 42% from the 3-point line. So maybe just take her up and over her 3-point prop. I think that is listed at 1.5. As long as she has her legs, I think that she should be able to go out there and hit 2 threes. So 3-point makes 1.5. She hit 4 the last time. She 4 against the Sparks the other day. But she has been struggling in these games. I mean, it's really just, it's so volatile with these players, man. 0 or 3, or 1 or 0, or 4. Who knows, man? Who actually knows? The insight here says Skylar Diggins has failed to exceed 1.5 threes in 15 of her last 19 games against top 5 defenses for 3-pointers allowed. So she only averages 1. So it says Skylar under her 3-point prop. But yeah, I don't really know what to do with Skylar points. It's not necessarily the greatest spot here. Not the greatest spot. Let's see. What else y'all saying here? Bro, high on the Sparks. Says Valkyries by 5 today. Okay. Yesterday was her 35th birthday time, I said. Skylar Diggins' 35th birthday? Skylar, me and Skylar the same age. About the same age, Skylar. Okay. Oka says aces today. So some back and forth in the chat about that game as well. All right, let's get into a quick recap. I told you guys the player props that I like to stand out the most to me, and I'll give them to you again in the recap. So let me go back to the main screen and get into the recaps section for today, man. I honestly before I even get into the recap, if I'm not live betting, like, you just don't know what energy these teams gonna come out with. Bounce back spot, not bounce back. Let down spot, absolutely no let down. Like, it's hard. It's really, really hard right now. But if I'm betting, I told you guys why I like the New York and Connecticut under. Maybe even there's just a potential Connecticut team total under. They stayed under the team total in the first one, even though they won. They won the game outright and still stayed under their team total. So the team total today is 80 or 79.5. You would need them not to get to 80. I can see that. I like Sabrina over her rebounds and assists. I think. Let me just double check real quick. I think it's not even 11.5. It's actually 10.5. That's what I wanted to double check. So 10.5 rebounds and assists. Best line is available on Bet365. Aaliyah Boston, 23.5 points and rebounds. Jacko Jones over 1.5 threes. I talked about that as well. I kind of feel like Phoenix gets right early in that game. Phoenix first half minus 8.5. I'll add that to the short list as well. Chicago is that bad in my opinion. So Phoenix first half minus 8.5. And I honestly don't really know what to do with the Seattle game. I'm not going to give you guys anything in that game. I would just bet Aaliyah Boston over her points plus rebounds in that spot. And let me go through my phone real quick. I think there was a couple more I wanted to share. Let's see. I screenshotted these. So Marina Mabry, if you do like Connecticut, her over her 3.5 assists. I screenshotted this. She's over in 7 of the last 10 games. She did get 8 assists in the last game against the Liberty. I could see Sandy Brondello switching up the defense and kind of blitzing her a little bit to get the ball out of her hands, because she also went up and over her points prop in the last game. So over her 3.5 assists, I think is solid. Marina Mabry over her 3.5 assists. The reason I didn't bet it is because her minutes have kind of been all over the place since she came back. Last game, she played a lot of minutes. The game before that, she played like just 20. So, and the game before that, she didn't play a lot either. So Marina Mabry over her 3.5 assists. And yeah, that was the only other one I wanted to make sure I shared with you guys. And I think I mentioned AT over her assists as well. Alyssa Thomas over, I think she's still listed at 8.5, minus 125 when I woke up this morning, over 8.5 assists in that same game with Phoenix. If she can't get 10 assists today, I'm not sure when she's going to be able to do it. So that makes a ton of sense. And yeah, that's it for me, man. That's it. If I'm betting, all of these plays are in red because who knows? Live bets, like I said, I'll send them out as I watch the game and try to find a way to make some money. Best of luck on whatever it is that you guys are playing. Links in the description for my plays, for all the resources as well. Check them out and hit the like button for me on the way out. We'll be back on Tuesday. There's no games tomorrow in the WNBA, but I think Tuesday's a pretty good slate. So yeah, subscribe to the channel, turn notification bell on. We'll be dropping some NFL content coming up here soon as we get closer to the regular season and preseason. Dropping preseason starting soon. And yeah, enjoy your Sunday, man. I'll catch you guys in the next one.